In this video, I'm going to talk about how we scientifically break down winning ads that actually scale some of our clients to 30, 50, 100, sometimes even $200,000 per day in sales in one single day. And the client that you're seeing in front of me, it's just one of our own clients. It's not a case study or anything, but it's just so you see the type of caliber of clients that we're typically used to managing and working with. We work with 8 and 7-figure brands. Now, let me just refresh so you know this is real. And now that we get the proof out of the way, let's dive deeper into the creative strategies, but specifically the creative scaling strategies that we're implementing, at least for our own clients. Great. So as you can see from the title of the video, the creative infrastructure to scale to 100K per day. Okay. And and what I say here, what the gurus don't tell you or keep away from you, right? And so, there's a lot of things that a lot of people tell you about creative and scaling, etc., etc. But if there's one thing that I've noticed, or there's a huge misconception about this entire process when it comes to scaling with creatives, specifically with e-commerce brands, is that everybody sells. To scale, you need more creatives. Okay, that is absolutely not true. And I'll explain why in just a second. To scale, you do not need more creatives necessarily. You need to understand one thing and one thing only first. You need to understand why winning ads are winning ads in the first place, okay? And everything starts from doing a lot of deep competitor research. I'm gonna dive deeper into the strategies and the step-by-step frameworks that we use to break down why winning ads win in the first place, so we can dissect and understand everything. But before we do that, we need to understand that almost everything starts from going into tools like Atria, like this one over here, and funnel hacking best direct competitors. If you don't know what your best direct competitors are doing, you're pretty much losing and leaving a lot of money on the table, because they already spend the millions of dollars every single month understanding and testing different angles, persona, landing pages, headlines, ad copies, hooks, creatives, all of these things, creative concepts, right? So the least that we can do is go and use tools like Atria, which I highly recommend, right? Filter by longest running ads, so we have a good understanding of what type of ads have been running for the longest amount of period. And then we also filter by active status. So these are all active ads. If you want to take it a step further, you can also take a look at the ads library. Click on the top right over here, and you can pretty much take a look at all of the ads that are active, breakdown. I also use this tool, I forget what it's called, but it's like a Chrome extension that allows you to download and save these ads so that they're all compiled and they're all from the ad library. You can do the same thing with Atria, but the first thing that we do is we filter ads that have been running for a long time. For this example, this is a great example of an ad that has been running for a long time, September 12th, 2024. That's several months. Chances are, if you leave an ad for active for more than 30 days, it's an extremely profitable ad, most likely a winner. So this is the first step that we take. We also take a look at all the hooks that they're using, right? Waiting a second until it loads. All the hooks, all of the ad copies, all of the headlines, all of the landing pages. Not sure why it's not loading. There it is. All of the landing pages. Why is it important to see the landing pages? It's important because we can then dissect and understand and reverse engineer where most of the ads are going to and what offers, including all of the ad angles. This is one of my favorite ones, because many people don't actually scale aggressively with angles. They just focus on doing and testing some creatives in there, but there's so many different angles and propositions that you can sell the same exact product to. So this wallet you can sell because it's slim fit. You can sell because it has some tech advancements. You can sell because it's luxurious but for a good price. There's so many ways that you can sell a product. And as you can see, Dr. Squatch is just they're doing millions and millions a month. And let's just assume that I'm selling a soap, because they also sell soap. If there's one thing that I do is go in the ad angles and understand exactly what angles they are taking advantage of and where they're building their leverage, and then I can take a look at their best winning ads. Now, for the sake of the example, let's move forward. Once you understand the direct best competitor, you can move forward and understand and kind of dissect the best winning ad. So we choose one ad and we try to have an ad framework and buying triggers. So one thing that really works well for us is that we can literally copy and paste the link of the ad or download the ad, which you can easily do in Atria by just clicking on the ad that you want to download. And then you can literally download it over here. Where is it? Download the ad. So click download. You can then go into ChatGPT and use tools like this, right? Where you can basically just download the ad. I'm just going to go back because I have some old things over here. You can literally upload the ad. There it is. Upload the ad and tell it, ask ChatGPT to give you the ad framework, the buying triggers, the ad breakdown, and the required B-roll shots that are required to reproduce that same exact ad. And then I also give a transcript so they have a better understanding in case they missed the audio or whatever for whatever reason. And so it's giving me all the ad framework, descriptive claim, relatable story, problem revelation, personal testimonial shift, introduction of the new product, all of this including some timestamps so we understand exactly, we're able to dissect everything. So this brings brings me back to the example. Once we have these frameworks, then the special part really comes back. We need to understand that one of the most profitable activities that you can do within your company is understand why winning ads work, as I said before for the 10th time. And so one activity that really works well for us internally, and we do this for all of our clients, is that we dissect winning ads by every 2 to 3 seconds. As you can see here, we literally not funnel hack, but literally study the winning ads by every 2 to 3 seconds. So here, 3 seconds, 5 to 7 seconds, 7 to 9 seconds, 9 to 11, 11 to 14. Why is this important? It's important because you need to understand that winning ads are winning ads because they have a very strong retention rate. This is what a retention rate looks like, right? This is maybe a bad ad or a normal ad. You retain people for 80%, then after 10 seconds, 40% stick, 20% stick, 5% stick, until maybe 2 or 3% watch the entire video. Winning ads actually retain for a very, very long time, which allows those ads to have very, very cheap CPMs and very, very low cost per acquisition, high ROAS at scale. And so a typical winning ad is maybe retaining 80% of their viewers in the first 5 seconds, then 60%. Then 60% between second 20 and 30, and then 50%, and then maybe 40% see the entire ad. These are very, very good metrics. So if we can get closer to this and dissect why and study every 2 to 3 seconds of the winning ad, then we're going to get closer and closer to that high retention rate, which is why you get low CPMs and which is why you get typically low cost per acquisitions. And typically these types of ads get so many likes, comments, and shares, and they get boosted by the algorithm, and then that's where you can really scale aggressively. So as you can see here, there's several components that we divide this document with. We have an ad segment, second by frames. The ad segment is basically what is the section of the video. This is the hook. Then we have a relatable pain point between second 3 and second 11. And then we have introduction of the solution plus partner validation, which is something about this specific ad between second 11 and 17, ingredients, credibility, so on and so forth. We dissect everything. We give this to the creative team so they know exactly what the ad segment is. The second by frame is the required B-roll shots, literally with screenshots, right? And then B-roll explanations. And one thing that you can do if you don't want to do these screenshots, you can upload the video to ChatGPT and tell it to do screenshots and send it to a file that you can actually download every 2 to 3 seconds. So ChatGPT, you upload the video, you ask to do screenshots every 2 to 3 seconds of the video, and then you basically have all of these screenshots of the video that you don't have to do manually. So all of this can be done in literally like 1 minute, right? And then we have a B-roll explanation, which is crucial to explain, right, what these B-roll shots are so that the creative team knows exactly what they need to reproduce with the content that they have on hand. And then an ad segment explanation. So we're essentially explaining the ad segment and what it is and what is actually portrayed in the video within that segment. So focus on the relatability factor, show scenes of what people have used before, make sure that the scenes are relatable and something they have tried before, right? This is what the whole scene is about. Once we have all of this, we can then have the creative team basically recreate ads with different B-rolls and scripts and all of the assets that we give them, and they have a formula. They have a proven formula to reproduce winning ads. And by the way, let me show you a document that we literally created for a client that is exactly something very similar that we just, formalize into a document. This is what it looks like. Scientific ad breakdown. So this is literally one ad. I just have to cover this for NDA reasons, but this is literally a podcast style ad. This is the ad framework, all done by ChatGPT. Buying triggers. We need to understand the buying motivations, right, of why people buy the product. And then this is basically the scene by scene, right? It's just like in vertical format instead of horizontal, but it's the same thing. Same thing for another type of ad, right? A UGC ad that is winner. Ad framework, buying triggers, and then scene by scene ad breakdown with the required B-rolls. This is gold. And by the way, I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but we did this for like 5 to 7 ads minimum. And this is a 30-page document, right? If you don't do this for your own brand, we do it for like 12 clients at the same time. We do this document for everyone. If you don't do it for your own self, I'm not sure what to tell you because this is so important. If you understand, once again, why the ads work by frames and by second and by segments, your creators will love you. Your creative team will literally love you because you're going to save them so much time. They're not going to be burnt out because their hit rate of every ad that they give to the advertising team is going to be higher success. Meaning, instead of actually having a win rate of like 3%, so you launch 100 ads and you have 3 winners, you maybe launch 30 and you have 3 winners, right? So this is all really important. And at the end of the day, the retention, once again, we do this study to increase retention rate on the ad. And so if we increase retention rate, our costs are in our favor. And so once again, the whole point over here is that eventually we come to a point where we gather all of these winning ad sets, the ad framework, the buying triggers, the winning scripts, the required B-rolls, the AI voiceover avatars, right? Including also this kind of like visual representation, which I showed you over here. This is like visual representation presentations of exactly what the creative team needs to do to reproduce winning ads. Then you put all this information into a holy creative doc, which I like to call, which you send to the creative strategist, to your editors, to your copywriters, to your CMO, your head of performance, your graphic designer, your entire creative team, to then finally, and really finally, increase and have a kind of like a before after increased hit rate, right? This is typically what brands try to do. They try to do a lot of creatives. They scale their creative engine, which is not necessarily bad, but they scale it within a broken engine, right? So this is what their creative engine looks like, or their hit rate looks like. They test 30 ads, and maybe one of those ads is a winner. That's a 3% hit rate. That means, once again, to find 3 winning ads that are scalable. And by the way, a winning ad is not like an ad that spends $1,000 with 2 ROAS. It's an ad that spends 50, 100, $1 million, right? It's those types of winning ads. And then 3% is so low. So this is basically not scalable, right? So there's no point of scaling your creative infrastructure if you don't have a systematic way of increasing this hit rate, right? And so we want to go from here to essentially like triple or quadruple or 5x your winning ad hit rate ratio. So go from a 3% to maybe a 13%. Typically within our clients, we start scaling creative production whenever we see at least 10 to 12 to 15%, then that is a good indication of, we have good volume, and, anything that we're launching 1 in 8, 1 in 7, 1 in 10 ads are actually winners and are actually scalable. So what happens if you scale something like this? It's wasted time, it's wasted resources, your team is burnt out because they're not motivated, because literally all the ads they're recreating are not working. It's very frustrating, and it's not scalable because you're scaling a broken engine. And this, on the other hand, is high motivation, very efficient, scalable process, less time to find winners, right? Which is the whole point of actually scaling. We've had some clients that do $2 to $3 million a month, and they test only 7 creatives a week. But out of those 7 creatives, 2 to 3 are big winners, big daddy winners, as I like to say. And so once you figure this out, then you can start figuring out how to scale your creative production. As you see here, once you achieve high ad hit rate, you can then think of scaling your creative input. That is when you can focus on maximizing the following growth strategies, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. But before we go and move on and talk about these things, you need to understand, how do we track ad hit rate? Well, this is a very, very important fundamental aspect of everything. We track everything into a creative testing tracker sheet. So every single test that we put into the ad account, we actually put it and record it and document it into a command center, right? You can actually get this document by clicking the link down below. There's so many things here, very useful. A daily report, creative concepts that we test, a testing tracker sheet, a UGC tracker, email flows, CRO tracker. There's so many things. Just grab the link. We use this exact same sheet to scale our clients to 7 and 8 figures. So get it for yourself. You owe it to yourself, honestly. So there's a link down below. Get it. You're going to get it in your inbox. Now, going back to what I was saying, if you don't track all the creatives that go into your ad account, you're pretty much hoping that something sticks on the wall, which is the last thing that you want to do, right? So we want to track every single ad set and creative test that we put into the ad account, and we record it over here. So as an example, let's just say we start fresh with test number 1. First of all, we have an ad set naming. It's basically test number, product name. Feminine spirit is like the ad angle, whether it's an image or a GIF or a video, right? Then we record that, and this is all automatically done through some formula that my team prepared here. So basically what we want to do over here, I'm not sure what's going on. What we want to do over here is that once we record this, we record on the sheet, what is the marketing angle that we used for this specific creative? What is the main emotion that we want to portray, right? With this creative or this creative test, what is the avatar customer that we're trying to target? The hook, the messaging, the copy, right? These are blank because it's a demo sheet, whatever, you can fill it up on yourself. And then one other thing that we do is that we don't just rely on the ad account numbers. We want to put numbers here in the sheet so that we can visually, with color coding, as you can see here, understand what's working, what's not working. And then after 1 to 2 weeks, we can determine whether this was a winner, whether it was a break even, a loser, or a to be determined. To be determined, it's typically when it didn't spend enough, like $20, and we're still getting enough data. Right, and so this is another example that maybe it's a winner, right? Spent over $1,000 and it's really starting to scale and get traction, 2.5x ROAS, and it's a good number. At the end of the day, this is also the holy grail of understanding if you can scale a creative infrastructure or not. The winning rate. You should have this exact diagram shown to you by your team, by yourself, build it yourself, whatever you want, every single week, because you need to track this every single week. Whenever we work with clients, we show them this every single week. The win rate, in this case, this is an actual screenshot from a client. So we found 2 big winners within the week or something like that, which is 12% of our test. Then to be determined is 35%. The losing rate is 30%. The break even is 23%. Typically, most of the ads are going to be break even, losers, and some are going to be determined, and then if you're doing things right, 10, 15, 20% are going to be win rates, right? Essentially, ads are scalable and are winners. Okay, we also scale. The advantage of having this testing tracker is that you have all these columns, and you can eventually just create even just more columns that give you more data. So a number of tests, right, for the week, tests divided by what type of ad it was, whether was it a video, was it an image, was it a GIF, you get the idea. Okay, then you can also use like tools like Atria, where you can literally sign up, and you know how you're seeing all this information for Dr. Squatch. If you sign up, you can actually see all of this information within your business, because Atria connects with your ad account, your Google ads, your Shopify, and it reports everything back, and it also gives you a good understanding of top personas, landing pages, ROAS filtered by ad copy, ROAS filtered by hooks. It's really something that I recommend. Plus, we also use the sheet that we built internally. Get the sheet, track it like this. This is super important. Moving forward, once we understand that we cannot scale a broken engine and we can only scale creative production once we have a good or a solid hit rate with our ads, then we can start going after growth strategies that really maximize your earnings and your profitability and your scalability, right? And so these are all growth strategies that are super detrimental. The first one is scaling horizontally with marketing angles. There's no such thing of just scaling with one angle. These companies that do 50 million, 100 million, 200 million, 500 million plus every single year scale within multiple verticals and angles. Let me show you an example. Dr. Squatch, once again, we go over here. This is why I love this tool so much. It's super transparent. You can literally click on ad angles, and you can see that 576 ads are within the boosted attractiveness angle. Another 471 are increased confidence, which are super different. Smooth skin, different angle. Health angle, aesthetics, enjoyment, increased intimacy, confidence. So once again, as you can see, they're scaling with multiple different marketing angles, which is detrimental for scale to happen and finding untapped other revenue streams. So why is this important? We need to understand by every single product, as you can see here, product that we can scale has some sort of cap, meaning that if you sell with one product with one marketing angle, right, like this one over here, you need to understand that eventually that angle is going to find a market cap. Maybe for your competitor, the market cap for that is maybe $1 million a month, right, because they maybe entered the market earlier and they gain more market share. But maybe for you, it's 500K a month. So if you're just selling with one angle, and you're seeing that you just cannot push no matter what type of ad you've done all of your tests, but you just cannot push it, then try to find another angle that can scale. Maybe it's not going to be a 500K a month angle, right? Maybe it's going to be a 200K a month, maybe 100K, but it's going to allow you to scale horizontally and just overall have a much stronger and more consistent infrastructure when it comes to scaling that product and squeezing the juice from it so that you can get as much as you can from that singular product. Once you have that, right, then you need to understand that each individual angle, so once again, we have the product, then we have angle 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And then within each angle, to find and squeeze the juice even further and basically unlock this extra gray area, right? We wouldn't have this, right? But let's just say we have it. This is essentially, as I say here, potential lost revenue per angle due to insufficient creative concept testing. So what I'm trying to say here is that once you have a product and once you scale horizontally with angles, you need to maximize on creative concepts to then boost that angle even more. So maybe instead of doing 400K, you get to 500K because you're able to get this extra, instead of doing 500K, you maybe get to 600K. You unlock this gray area because you are able to test more creative concepts. Same thing with angle number 2. You're doing 200K, maybe you can unlock 300K because you've tested multiple different creative concepts within that same angle. What is a creative concept? A creative concept is something like this: an AI song, X reasons why, reviews, unboxing video, reaction, comment overload, image grid. Basically, what I have over here, which is also something you can still get access to, right? As you can see, there's other people trying to access the sheet, but this is a creative concept, POVs, before and afters with inspo links. So if you want access to this, get it, because there's also all of these creative concepts with inspirational links, so you understand exactly what type of creative it is in case you forget. So once again, we scale with angles, but we don't stop there. We do the angle, right? And then we try to scale horizontally with different creative concepts so that we can keep the pipeline super high, right? And then at the same time, we can unlock this gray area, which would have been untapped. This is basically untapped revenue potential for each marketing angle. Hopefully you understand what I mean by this gray area. You basically have to see it like this. This is without testing creative concepts, and this is basically with testing creative concepts, because you can unlock even more, right, from each angle. That's essentially what you need to understand from this small little diagram. Same thing, once you get to a good momentum and once your hit rate is good, you're testing different creative concepts, everything is going and aligning with how you want to grow your company, then this is when you should really start thinking about scaling horizontally. This is one of the main growth strategies when it comes to products, right? Scaling with products. Maybe your product, no matter what you do, is just you can't get it above 300K. Great. Find product 2, product 3, product 4. Eventually, this is going to allow you to make a lot more of a consistent business, because increase your customer retention, increase your LTV, because people are just, you're giving them an extra reason to actually come back and buy more and increase that lifetime value of a customer. This is how brands literally scale. If we take a look at exactly what Dr. Squatch is doing, if you take a look at their landing pages, just so we have an understanding of what they're doing with their landing pages and offers, etc. If you take a look at here, they have many different products that they've actually scaled over the last years. So they have many different collections, right? You can subscribe, you can shop with bundles, deals, soap, body wash, deodorant, hair, skin, hair. All of these are also amazing because they're consumable products. If you can sell a consumable product and expand your product line, you can basically sell subscription as well for multiple different tiers of product, which is absolutely a genius idea to do. And plus, these are super high margins, because I already know that to produce soap, it's pretty inexpensive and they sell it for $30. So they probably have like 70, 80, 85% margins for at least, and they're able to then have enough margin to scale, right? And then they have subscription, and then they're scaling with products, and so it's basically a snowball effect of all these green checks put into place. As you can see, once again, all soaps, body wash, the moisture, bar soap, they have so many different products, and this is really allowing them to scale to the 9-figure mark. Okay, that is it for this video. I hope you got some point from this. If there's one key takeaway that you need to get from this video overall, is that you should not scale, do not scale with more creatives if you don't have a finalized and concrete way of actually finding and understanding why winning ads work in the first place. Do not scale if you don't have at least somewhat of a similar document like this to break and give all the information required to your creative team to understand why the winning ads work in the first place. And then last but not least, make sure that you create an overall document that you can send to the creative team that has all of these things, so that they know exactly what's working, and they will thank you and love you and stick and work with you for the long term, because you're providing them SOPs, systems and processes and infrastructure for them required to find winning ads in the first place. And also remember, if there's one analysis that I've done throughout these years that differentiates 7-figure brands from 8 and 9-figure brands, it's literally this, about finding and understanding why winning ads work in the first place, and also SOPs, systems, organizations, infrastructures, putting everything into a sheet that looks something like this, right? Documentation, recording all of your tests into a creative testing tracker sheet. All of these things 7-figure brands just don't do. And many times that is the step that is required to go from 7 figures to 8 figures in the first place. Just better organization, better tracking, so we understand where we need to put our time into. Okay, I hope this video was valuable. I know that I ranted for a bit, maybe about the same topic, but it's really important. This is by far one of the most important topics that's going to help you get to that next level. Let me know if you have any questions. And by the way, if you have a brand doing plus or minus 100K per month minimum, and you want a consultation with me or one of my team members, and you want to at least explore the opportunity of potentially working with us when it comes to growing your company, whether your goal is 500K a month, 1 million, 3 million plus per month, whatever that is, book a call. We can hop on a call. It's going to be a free audit. We can literally audit and break down your business, kind of like I'm doing with these videos. And then we can explore if there's good synergy, and if we have a spot available within our company, our agency, we can explore the opportunity of working together. That is it for this video, and definitely see you in the next one. Bye.